for those of you who don't know, Jake, in addition to being an expert on events and everything like we were just talking about, local music promoter and co-founder of DentonRadio.com, as you can see behind him. So Jake, I'll let you take the floor.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me, Marty. I appreciate getting to do this. This is going to be fun, and glad to see a couple of people here. So you had said if you want to prepare something, you could, but I figured it would be more advantageous just to see what you guys wanted to talk about, considering things are a little topsy-turvy right now, and just wanted to open it up for discussion and see if there was anything top of mind that anybody wanted to talk about.
So I found those event formulas. For me, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I figure, there's a lot of guesswork kind of in event planning usually. Like I've been around a lot of people, and I've been, doing events. I went from soccer to, to my own company, and I was, hosting events with the soccer company and stuff like that. And, it's kind of like the same thing, you just got to figure, and some words are interchangeable and stuff like that. Instead of soccer fans, you're looking for, EDM or car fans and stuff like that. But anyways, I was there for like all 5 minutes of planning for one of like some local concert that was going on. They're like, we need to figure out, how to get this done officially. We got the marketing, we got the talent, and we're good. And I was like, what? So I figured, putting this together something to take the guesswork out of, the event planning, because I figure, there's a lot of variables, but, some of the variables, affect the event. Like you say, the venue, the talent, your marketing. So this is kind of like what I put together. I put together like this. Oh, can you see that? I put
see the title. I can't see the formula. Move it up a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Is that backwards for you guys?
No, you're good.
No,
we can see it.
Yeah, we're good.
There's that.
I figure, I can use 10,000 as kind of like something I can scale up or down or what have you. But, this is my, my first version. It's like 10,000 equals 400 tickets, minus, what is that? Artist value, times $2,000 as far as me putting it in, and then greater to equal to 500 people minus 100 times marketing. Because I heard, you got to market at least 100 times the amount of people you expect. So that's why I put it in. I think the new one is like 1,000 times marketing, but plus sales and minus sales. So I figure, to try to take a lot of the expenses out, to try to up your sales and stuff like that. And then the one thing that you mentioned last time was venue. And I basically made kind of like these charts that kind of like track my target market so that I know like throughout the year what they're doing. So I believe I'm on the right track.
Yeah.
Especially like it was pretty cool hearing you say, "Oh, I got this formula," and I was like, "Hey, I'm on the right track."
So, I have a question. Are we talking events like concerts, so to speak, or because I think the first number was like 10,000. I don't know if that was 10,000 tickets or 10,000 people, but the events I'm talking are like 250 people. So I'm just curious, like what events you guys are referring to for the formula.
Yeah. So for the For the formula that I'm talking about, it's more applicable to both, because I think we're talking budgetary on this other formula as far as what you're going to spend versus what you're going to get. In fact, Marty, am I able to do a screen share?
Let me enable it really fast.
Pull.
Okay, you should be good.
Okay, can you guys see that formula in front of me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the formula of mine that he's referring to. This is more, so I'm with you. I end up doing a little bit of everything, whether it's beers and cheers on a patio, or you're doing a larger event with 5,000 people and the whole shebang, and kind of everything else in between. And so I wanted to come up with sort of a measuring stick you could put up against what you're doing to see if you've missed anything, right? So this is more of a check to just make sure that you haven't missed a step. So what I'll just go through it piece by piece, and we'll go through it kind of quick. But so MV is what I call a magic venue. So everything revolves around venue first, and venue is going to be the number one thing that determines if people are coming or not. And a lot of reasons for that, but people get into a routine. There's places they're familiar with. There's places they're not familiar with. I was just working with a group the other day that said, hey, we want to do a big concert in the parking lot of a new hotel in town. And I said, you're going to have an exponentially harder time getting people to go there because nobody knows where it is versus a venue that they've gone to before and that they're familiar with. So what I encourage people to do is find places that people just gravitate toward. There's no particular formula as far as what venues work and what venues don't. There's just some venues that people like going to and some venues people don't. And if you can establish relationships with those venues people enjoy going to and sort of flock to already, you're already going to be sort of on their path of what you're already going to be in their routine. So it's much simpler to tweak their behavior versus trying to get them to go to a place they've never gone to before. So what I call those are magic venues. Is they're the venues people are just they're just willing to go to every time. I think Dan Silverleaf is a good example. I love Dan Silverleaf. Dan Silverleaf is a great place. A lot of people like to go. Most everybody knows about it. But if you go to Dan's, there's not like a thing about Dan's that could really set it apart. It's not decor or lights or whatever. It's just the fact that it's Dan's. And if I can book a band at Dan's versus if I book a band dang near anywhere else, you're just going to have a lot more people coming. So that's where I always tell people focus on the venue almost even more than the talent and the activity that you're doing. And always taking that into account first. So I think people get trapped where they say, I want to make something happen at this venue, and it may not be the right venue. And no matter how cool it is, it's difficult to get people to do that. The other part of the formula is 2 months of what I call you advertising. Is people will try to consistently spread their advertising out. So I'm going to start, I always tell people start 2 months in advance because you need time for people to talk about your event and spread the message about the event. So you need 2 months minimum to try and get the messaging out there. But I call it you advertising, where instead of evenly spacing out my messaging, like if say I've got 10 posters I'm going to put up and people say, oh, I'll put up 1 poster a day, or I'll push $1 a day on my Facebook advertising or something like that. What I tell everybody to do is do everything at the beginning and push all, if you're going to put up 10 posters, instead of putting up 1 poster a day, put up all 10 at the very, very beginning. Then allow that to have time for people to talk about it. Then at the very end, you remind people about 48 hours before the show, 48 to 24, you do another big push again. So you push it big time at the beginning, allow people to talk about it, call their friends, set up something that they're doing, and then hit it again at the end. And I think where people get trapped is they want to spread it out because they feel like if I spread out my messaging over that 2 months, then I'll be able to reach more people. And the problem is you become less effective because you've spread it out rather than doing this big blast of information at the beginning. And then I have the times 4%, which is my 4% rule, nodding to what he was talking about before, is I think 4% is how you can measure yourself. If 4% of the people that you told about your event come, that's a successful event. If less than 4, maybe we need to tweak something with the marketing. If more than 4, you did phenomenal. But I think that's how people need to look at it. Is most people say, okay, I want 25 people to come, so I'm going to invite 27, 29. And then 3 people come and they go, oh, I failed or I flopped. And it's, no, you actually did quite well. You're just not telling enough people about it to get them to come. Everybody's busy. We get into our own stuff. And so I always try to measure things against 4%. That's just my personal rule, is I'm going to back everything against 4% and say, okay, if I need 100 people, then 100 needs to be 4% of my overall number. So I think it's like 2,500, something like that. So I need to tell 2,500 people if I'm going to get 100 people to come. And so those are the areas that I tell people to focus on. Those 4 key things really is the venue is super, super key. You need at least a minimum of 2 months to really get the messaging out there. Focus on you advertising rather than spreading out your messaging. Hit it really hard in the beginning, then hit it really hard right before again, not to get people to go, but to remind the folks that you got during that 2 months, and then to measure everything against 4%. So to back your numbers against 4%. So multiply everything by, divide everything by 0.04 or whatever, and you'll be able to find what that number is. So that's my particular formula, my successful event formula. And that can be applied again to beers and cheers on a patio, or you're doing something at American Airlines Center. It really follows that same pattern on getting people to come, whether it's for a concert or whatever. Now, again, as Cindy said, for a wedding, that's a built-in crowd. If you're trying to get people to come, that's when you would.